Momentum. Two passionate and busy moms sharing their quest to achieve entrepreneurial success.
Hi, everybody. Teresa Ofstad
and Ariella Vaccarino, and this is
Momentum.
Thank you so much for tuning in. We're super excited because this is the 20th episode.
20 episodes.
I can't believe how far we've come, Teresa.
Oh my gosh. And it's been amazing, this entire journey. And every episode just gets better and better as we listen back.
Really
We're like,
fun.
oh my gosh, this is amazing. And now that we've released some of our interviewees and we've got a lot more women to interview. We have another guest with us today, which we're going to introduce her in just a second.
Yeah.
But the momentum that we've been building is so great, and all of the people that are wanting to be on our show. So you're going to hear a lot more from a lot more amazing women.
Yeah.
But
go ahead.
ahead.
I just want to say, and thank you so much for all your comments on Facebook and for direct messaging us. And we have our TikTok and our Instagram now, and our what else do we have? TikTok, Instagram,
YouTube, Facebook group. Yeah,
we're all over the place.
Everywhere.
And we're having fun. We're making lots of reels. So you're probably starting to see us everywhere. So we really appreciate your support, and please continue to share and chat about us to people who you think might enjoy our show.
Yes.
But we're super excited because we have a fantastic woman on today. Okay, her name is Elizabeth Brunner. Okay, and she is a really interesting woman, and she has a very interesting business, which really caught my eye because, as we said, a lot of people have reached out to want to be on our show, and we're picking, as we go, these businesses that stick out to us. And Elizabeth's really stuck out to me.
Yeah.
She has a company named StereoType Kids. And should we read about it?
Yes. So she is San Francisco based designer, and, we'll hear more of her inspiration in just a minute.
Yeah.
But her StereoType company is all about boys and girls and the collaborative, blend of fashion that they all like, and, just kind of coming into their own. But we're going to hear more from her, exactly what her inspiration was, and, why she started this company, how she started this company.
Gender-free clothing for a kids line.
Yes.
And it really speaks to me because I have 5 kids, and they all kind of have their own way they dress. It's pretty cool. So I really, really stuck out to me. And so she has created this brand, and it's designed to empower kids so they can express themselves authentically. And it was born with the mission to celebrate kids' individuality and freedom of expression by blending traditional ideas of boys and girls wear. That's pretty cool.
So Elizabeth, tell us, what inspired you to create this business?
Yeah, let's hear your story.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here and to talk to both of you. So StereoType was inspired by my girl boy twins.
Okay.
I started to observe them dressing themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And what I noticed in having twins, of course, I have 2 sets of everything, and their sizes are the same, is that they started to dress from each other's wardrobes just naturally. They were naturally attracted to each other's wardrobes. And I was like, oh, okay. It was, a couple things here and there. And I noticed that this was just their preference. So my daughter would dig into my son's wardrobe and pick out some camo print, and my son would dig into my daughter's wardrobe and pick out some pink or sparkle items. And I never went in and tried to correct it. I went in and just was like, oh, this is really cute. This is what they're doing. So that really was the inspiration for the brand, was just observing my kids and their natural attraction to what they were drawn to. So not stepping in or trying to change it, but letting them be. And that really was the basis of the brand. So that's.
And how old were they? How old were they at the time? Okay.
They were about 4 years old. And I had another business that I was doing at the time called Piece by Piece. And so I had no interest in starting another business. But as they grew and as I had more experiences with them and observing them, it became more apparent that this brand needed to start. And I was the one to start it.
Wow. So you studied design at the California College of the Arts. You studied fashion design?
That's right.
And your business before this was also in fashion?
It was, yeah. Piece by Piece was a clothing line that was pioneering, basically using scrap reuse from local designers. So I would take local discarded fabrics that were used for sampling, and I would remake garments out of them. So I had that business going when I had my my twins. And then I kept it going for a little bit while after.
Yeah. And that business is so creative too. I love that idea, you know, but,
is that still around?
It is not. No, I closed it
Okay.
in 2018. And then I had the idea for StereoType at the same year I shut my business down. I was like, okay, I'm going to shut my business down. I'm just going to enjoy being a mom. And, you know, my kids were very young at the time and wanted to just really be very present for them. And then that turned into this other idea. And that really was being present with my kids when I was observing what they were wearing and not interfering or trying to intervene in any way. I was being very present with my kids.
So I noticed that you opened your business, or you launched your business in November of 2020. Do you think that time at home helped or hurt you in launching something brand new?
That's such a good question. I launched it during COVID, which, you know, is great timing.
Yeah.
But really it became, StereoType really is my calling. And I really try to emphasize that, because it's not something, as I said, that I was intending to do. But once I had the idea for it, I just started to build momentum with the idea, and it just started to grow and grow. And I was like, okay, I really have to decide, am I going to start this company, or am I going to just ignore what I'm being called to do? And I just couldn't ignore what I was being called to do. And because really what I'm advocating for is children's individuality, it just became, well, this isn't just about my kids, it's about all kids.
Yeah, it's a
So it
larger cause.
Exactly. It became something much larger than myself. And that really influenced me to keep going. And, you know, during COVID, it really became an antidote to all the stress of what was happening outside. So I really just laser focused my intention to start the brand, and just was like, okay, well, I'm going to launch. I had no product, by the way. I had really nice photos of samples, but I had no product for the first 8 months. But it was really about getting this idea out there and getting the mission out there. And I just couldn't wait to do it. So I didn't.
So not only are you, you know, taking this time with your family and developing a business, but it sounds like not only were they the inspiration, but you mentioned that they're the co-founders and they're your models. So tell us more about how you incorporate your kids with your business.
Well, I like to say my kids are literally the DNA of the brand. So they really are. And so for me, you know, in the beginning, I really didn't want to put them on social media. I didn't want to put them on the website. I was one of those parents that was like, no, this is just not what I want my kids to grow up in. But then, you know, they became so interested in the brand, and because they know they're the inspiration for the brand, they're very proud of it. They're very proud of, wow, Mom, you're making changes for the world. I mean, they really see that bigger picture, and I just couldn't keep them away from that. There's just no way I could. So for them to know that they're a part of a bigger mission is really empowering for them. And that gave me the idea to make them co-founders, which I did last year, because they really are a big part of the brand. They are the inspiration. They are the seed. They're the models. They test out the products. They give me their feedback. I mean, it just has ballooned to a very big role for them in a way that's manageable. I mean, they're not like, you know, like on the computer collecting data or anything. They're really just, you know, a part of the brand in a really fun way, and a way that's manageable for them and for myself, because I'm still learning and growing as I continue on this journey.
Part of the creative process, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Can I ask a couple like questions on how you got to this point? I know you went to school, and then I know you did piece by piece, but where did you get this training to be an entrepreneur? I mean, do you come from it as a child? Did your parents have businesses? Were you working in retail for years before you started your own business? You know, where did this all come from? Because some people just don't do that, right?
Yeah, no, my parents did not have their own businesses. I like to call myself an accidental entrepreneur, because that's really what it is. I sort of fumbled into it, and my first brand, Piece by Piece, that I did was also a calling. It was like, this is a problem. We have all of this waste in the fashion industry, and it's going to the garbage. It's going to the dump. How can I intervene here? So for me, that was like the basis for both my businesses, was like this deeper calling to change. And, you know, no, I don't have a lot of experience in running my own business other than the one before, but it's kind of like, you just have to keep going. And for me, I've learned a lot with my first business. I'm certainly learning a lot with this business. And, you know, I'm willing to take make that commitment to keep going as far as I can, because it's very important to me. And, you know, that is inspiration for my kids as well. It's like they can see me trying to make this dream come true, which means they will also most likely do that for themselves as they grow.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
And you're homeschooling them, right?
I am. Yes.
So then how is a typical day? You're homeschooling, but you're running your own business and you're growing your own business. So how does that work out? Do you get any sort of support outside of yourself?
I do have support. Yes, I have a wonderful caretaker who helps homeschool them. So
Perfect.
they're and she's a naturalist, and so they spend a lot of time outside. That's mostly where they do a lot of their education. And it's also, we don't follow a curriculum. It's very hands-off and more about project-based learning. So that's how we structure our homeschool. So they're learning about things that they want to learn about. They're not learning about things that are in a curriculum. So that gives us a lot of breathing room and a lot of space, and it gives them a lot of creativity and time to discover who they are with that looser set of rules around what they should be learning. It's like they're learning what they want to learn, and they're learning what they're called to learn.
Awesome. So, okay, so now I want to get on the other side of it. So you decide you're going to start this business. So like, what are some of the steps that you had to do it? You know, did you have to hire PR or marketing, or did you build your own website? Like, really, what were the nitty-gritty steps that you were in charge of? And what were your wins along the way that you had to, like, what did you have to pass off to other people? Like, where did you have to spend, you know what I mean? Sometimes you have to spend your money on some things, but you're good at other things. How did you kind of know how you wanted to divide your time and intention here?
Well, I'm still figuring it out. So I don't have it figured out, but I would say, you know, for me, it was really about the creative process. So for me, I started, once I had the idea, once I committed to actually following through with my idea, it was baby steps, right? So it was just like, okay, first of all, I have to figure out what it is I'm trying to say. What kind of clothing am I trying to create here? Why is it different from what is out there? What is my message? So I really started from that point.
So what is your message? That was your number one.
What is my goal? Yeah, what is my goal here? Because there's gender, you know, neutral clothing out there. There's unisex clothing out there. How is this different? So I really had to come to that conclusion on my own and make that a bigger statement about what it was I was designing and how I was designing it. And
why was it different? Why were you different than other gender neutral brands? What did you decide for yourself?
I say that gender neutral, I define it more as like a toning down, right? The colors are more muted. They're, you know, they're not necessarily elevated in a way where you're seeing kids' clothing in a different light. So for me, gender free, which is the term that I came up with for the brand,
like that, yeah,
is that it's more about blending boy and girl. It's blended fashion. So I'm blending and highlighting what is typically considered masculine and feminine. So for the clothing line right now, it's really heavy in black right now. So that's typically a masculine color. My daughter loves black. Like, she'll wear head to toe black, you know, often, and she really loves that. And my son loves sparkle. He'll wear a sparkle skirt or something. So it was really, for me, defining it as blended fashion and really removing gender from it. So it's not unisex, it's not gender neutral, because I'm elevating and highlighting gender in a way that hasn't been done before. And so that's how I made that distinction. And once I made that distinction, it was just like, yeah, baby steps. Okay, who do I know that can help me build a website? You know, my husband runs a design firm, and so he was able to help me with those first steps of getting a website, getting the branding going, you know, things like that. And once I had that, you know, made that definitive choice of starting the brand, things really started to align and fall into place. And that's really, you know, when you know you're on the right track as well.
I think it's real important to pull your contacts, whatever you can, you know, and it sounds like you were doing that, especially when you're starting off as an entrepreneur. You got to pull it. You got to find who does something that I need help with, you know, and then get people involved, because they probably want to help you because they're excited about what you're doing. Is that right?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you're basically, I mean, I like to compare, you know, StereoType as my third child. Like, this is my third child, and I'm trying to raise this baby, right? And I have to have people help me raise this baby. And that those people have to love this baby as much as I do. And so it really was finding, and it wasn't honestly hard to convince a lot of people to not fall in line, but to help me build it and start it out, because they believed in the brand and believed in the mission as well. So I think, really talking to people about what you're doing in the beginning is really going to help you set yourself up to get those first building blocks going. And, you know, it's constant, right? It's a marathon, not a race. You're constantly building and trying to get people to help you. It's never ending. So sharing your story, sharing your passion, people can feel that and they can sense it and they want to be a part of it. And so that's really what helped get me going as well.
Yeah. And I love the analogy. I think Ariella's maybe mentioned it once before on another episode, but it's true. It's like another child. And, you know, you have your birthing pains while you're launching, and you have your growing pains at different stages of the growth of your business. So, you know, it's, and again, as moms, we kind of know what that feels like.
Right. Every time, I have a line of CDs and books on singing, and every time I complete a CD, it's like, I gave birth to that in a certain way, but it's there now. It exists. It's tangible, and it came from me. I mean, that's such a cool feeling when something's done like that. So I'm sure you feel that way with your clothing, you know.
I do. Yeah. I mean, it was a huge hurdle to get everything made and out there. But there is a big sense of pride, but yeah, it's a process of, okay, this newborn baby is out here. Now I have to nourish it. You know, it is very similar. I think about it at night. Am I doing the right things? You know, all the things that you associate new motherhood with is definitely very similar, in my opinion, to starting a new business.
And how is an entrepreneur? It's so hard. How do you know when to shut off? When is enough for the day? When is it time to turn it off and be with the kids? Or, you know, the weekends are just for the kids. I mean, your brain is going, it's you, it's your company, you know, it's your ideas that are going to come to life. How do you balance that?
You know, it is a challenge, but I really try to think about my business as something that I'm defining and I'm building as I go. It's not something that's defining me. So I'm designing my life around my business, not my life, you know, to fit into the business. Or I'm sorry. Yes. Is that right?
Good. I love that.
Yeah. So I'm designing the business to fit my life, and I'm not giving it everything. I can't, you know, so just like I can't give everything to my children, there has to be some space there. So for me, it's finding, you know, some balance and some peace with just knowing that there's only so much I can do in a day. And so knowing that you can only do so much in a day, it's easier for me to turn off, you know, and just be like, okay, well, tomorrow I'm going to do X, Y, Z. And, you know, some days are easier than others. There's definitely times where I'm like, worried or thinking about things too much, but that just comes with the territory of starting a new business.
Yeah. And, you know, I have to say, I just love the whole idea, the inspiration and the thought behind it all, you know, just allowing our kids to express themselves naturally. And how many times, I mean, there's so many people I've seen, you know, including internally within my own family where, you know, no, the boys have to play with this. The girls have to play with this. No, boys can't wear this. Boys can't wear that. Girls can't wear this. And so I am seeing more and more, you know, nowadays, you know, teenagers, you know, once you kind of either, I don't know, get a little more confidence to go, okay, I really want to pick what I want to pick. I am seeing more boys, you know, wearing pink and purple. Yeah. And even in the men's line, I've seen so many, you know, pink or purple button ups and ties. And, you know, so many times I'm like trying to get my husband to buy it. I did convince him once to buy it, and he looks great in it. But it's just, you know, it's that trying to fit everything in a peg and in a box. You know, we don't need to live in a box. We can express ourselves in different ways, and we can choose what we want to choose. And, you know, and I think it's great what you're doing. And it sounds like even as, you know, young kids, you just kind of allowed them to naturally, you know, select the things that are, you know, they want to select. So I love that.
And you know, one of my daughters absolutely does not dress girly. I'll say it like that. And probably can't buy most anything in the girls section. And it might have been nice if there was maybe not just a girl section and a boy section, you know, so we don't have to feel like now you're buying boy clothes. You know, maybe she just liked the stuff that's just like you said, just a little more muted, a little less girly, you know, because that's how she was in me. And my other daughter isn't like that. She's super girly. So and it's all good and it's all okay. But, you know, there is a stigma when you have to take your daughter across the line to the other section,
to the boys section.
She's dressing like a boy. Well, maybe she just likes these clothes. Maybe there's not so much behind it.
Yeah.
So that's why.
Or if a boy wanted to just get a pink sweatshirt, you know, doesn't have to have rainbows or, you know, unicorns on it, but maybe he just wants the color pink, then he has to come over to the girls section. So
that was actually a very pivotal moment for me when I was first starting my business, was really shopping for my kids. I was shopping shopping for my daughter in the boys section, and I was shopping for my son in the girls section. And I was like, why are these sections separate?
Right.
Yeah.
Isn't this the kids section? This should
Yeah.
be a kids section, right?
That's cool.
And
Yeah.
so it's really very eye-opening once you look at it through that lens of like, why are these things separate? And we are put in a box. And I think that we're also deeply, deeply conditioned, right? We're conditioned to think that this is the way it's supposed to be, and there's no other way. And that's just not the truth.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was about lifting the veil of that, right? This is an invisible barrier that we can break through. And it really does start with the parents, right? Of giving support to their child to express themselves
Mhm.
the way that they want to. And a lot of parents have a hard time doing that. And so for me, it was this brand is really about educating parents to think outside of what we would consider a normal, boundary for a child. It's like, we're really, kids should not be labeled, because if you label a child, you limit them. We don't want to limit our kids, and we shouldn't limit ourselves as well. So that also became a big part of the mission of the brand, is individuality for all, not just for kids, but for ourselves, because we're not done expressing ourselves as we grow, and it should be modeled that way to our kids as well.
Oh, absolutely. And I think it's a good time now. You're coming in business at a very good time for this right now. I think there's a lot more acceptance and more openness. I mean, not from everybody, but it's definitely a good time compared to 20 years ago, right?
Well, I think that everybody, some people have a difficult time with change, and as change comes around, they just want to continue to do things the way they were before. And we get stuck in patterns. We get stuck in our, in thinking, we get stuck in patterns. In physically going through motions, we get stuck in patterns. So some people have a hard time with change.
Absolutely. And there's no shame in that. I mean, I'm not here to shame anyone. Like, if you want to dress your daughter up in head to toe pink and your son in head to toe, trucks and dinosaurs, go for it. I think it's more about when the child is ready to express themselves in a different way, don't be afraid of it, because it really comes down to a fear, right? A fear of going outside of a norm. And that is hard for a lot of parents to do. And I often will tell parents it's a good time to self-reflect and ask yourself where that seed was planted and if it's still meaningful to you, because a lot of times it isn't, right? We're like, well, why can't my son wear a pink sweatshirt? Why am I, why can't he, am I really making a big deal about a color? And why am I making a big deal about a color? What does it say about me? So it really starts with the parents and self-reflecting and coming to terms with those own limits, and that way of thinking. And I understand that, it's very comforting to put somebody in a box. I mean, I had boy-girl twins, so everybody flooded us with blue and pink, it's like, it's very comforting. Okay, you're in this box, you're in this box. Okay, there's nothing outside of that. And that's just not true. We're really shortchanging ourselves if that's how we choose to live. And we're definitely shortchanging our kids if they're expressing something beyond what we would consider normal. Because they know who they are, they know what they love. They're naturally attracted to the things that they love without us interfering. And we can see that once we step back and take a deeper look.
And, I really know this because, so I have 3 boys. And then when I found out I was having a girl, you can only imagine, like, I was like so excited. And I love my boys, but it was, I had my 4th kid. So I was having a girl, and I dressed that baby girl. I mean, as girly as you could. Every day she had a bow or a flower with a dress and a booties. I mean, I was so excited. It was so fun. I dressed her like a little doll. Yeah. And, but there was a certain point that they become aware of who they are, or what they want or what they don't want. And she was very clear about it. And actually it was a little sad for me because I was so excited to have this little doll. And I had to have this conversation with myself. Like you said, it's just like, well, she's not a little doll, and this is not what she likes. This is what I wanted. And I just kind of let it go. She kept taking her brother's clothes, or she's a very cool girl. She just is very cool. She has a total sense of fashion. But it's definitely not this way that I thought it was going to be. So,
but that's why you had another girl.
And no, that's not why I had another girl. I think this girl's
you just got fortunate to have another girl.
No, but I had another girl, and then that girl was super girly for the longest time, and now she's going in her own direction too, and a whole nother thing she's doing. So you can't put your finger on them. They gotta.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can relate to that as well. I mean, my daughter, like I said, I had all these cute clothes for her, that I thought she would really love. And she's like, nope, I'm going to wear this dinosaur t-shirt and these camo pants, so,
Totally.
and she would, like I said, they would both blend their looks. So my son would wear camo sweats and then he'd put a skirt over it. And I was like, oh, okay, I actually really like this, so it became less it's not about me. Right. I mean, it is to a degree in that I'm trying to control an outcome, but what I'm really doing is if I'm inserting myself in what they're doing, I'm making it all about me and not about them. And I really wanted to, see what are they going to do next? What are the things that they're going to present to me next? And that became part of the fun of also starting the business. And, it took me a little while to get my arms around what it is that I was trying to say. But once I realized that this is really a blend of boy and girl, they're both equal in value and they shouldn't be changed or judged at all. We should value them both equally. So that's really a part of the brand and the mission as well.
And I love that you said it's a calling, and I can see that you were the person that was meant to create this business, because I never even thought about this. But just the fact that you're having a boy-girl twin,
right?
How much do siblings themselves want to, do things that are similar, especially when they're twins? You either want to be exactly the same as your twin, or sometimes you want to be total opposite. But there's always that, you never know how that relationship is going to work. But there's so many times you want to do the things that your sibling is doing, and especially when they're twins. So I just love the fact that you have boy girl twins, and that this kind of came from their experiences.
But this could have happened to her and she could have done nothing with it.
Exactly.
Or she could have just talked about it. But you took that extra step and you did it. You could say, oh, I should make a line of clothing for them. They like to wear each other's clothes. But you actually did it. And that's where the entrepreneur, that's the thing that excites me, to hear that in someone. When someone hears an idea, because I think, ideas are presented to us all the time, but whether we actually do them,
our family alone, there's so many great ideas out there, something that we want to create. And it's like you said, it's, oh, one day I should do this, or nobody's thought of this. We should really make this. But nothing's been done.
Can you tell us, so now where your business is? So you started in 2020. We're at 2023, which I'm not used to saying. So are you an online business? Are you in stores? What are your wins? Where are you right now?
Yeah, so we're direct to consumer right now.
Okay.
And I make everything in limited quantity. It's also made locally in San Francisco. So, that is a very important aspect of the business as well, is to support other local businesses.
Fantastic.
Keep the footprint small, so the quantities are limited. So that allows me to make a higher quality product, and also support, the local manufacturers that are in our city. And that's a big part of the line as well. So I didn't want to go anywhere, go to China or go to another country to make anything, because I do want to be a present mom. I want to be home. I don't want to be traveling and having to go places. And I want to make sure that there's living wages that are being paid to people who are manufacturing my goods. It's very important to me to partner up that way. So things are direct to consumer right now. I would love to do maybe wholesale in the future, but right now I'm keeping it small because I'm still in startup phase, and just getting it going that way. So I feel like it's definitely a win when you are sticking to your values in terms of making a smaller footprint, using sustainable fabrics, which is what I do. Working with local manufacturers to create a really unique, high quality product. So those are big wins for me, because I was actually able to do that, and I'm continuing to do that and commit to that as well.
So, but this does probably push your price point up a bit, so you are looking for a particular consumer that can pay for, unfortunately, lots of times our social conscious creations cost more, right? So that's something you're going after as well. These are all the things you have to think about when you have to go after a particular type of person that can afford your clothing, correct?
Yes. I mean, it is difficult, because that is the flip side, right? So I can be as ethical as I want to be, but that does drive up the price point for the average consumer. And I do get a lot of pushback on that. Well, why is this, priced this way, and why is it priced this way? And as much as I can educate a consumer, they still want Target or Walmart pricing. And I just can't offer that as a small business. And it's something that is difficult difficult to sometimes explain to the average consumer because they just, well, it's easy to just make something. I'm just going to go to Walmart and go pick up a skirt or, pick up a sweatshirt. And it's like, you're not going to find these products elsewhere. And they are limited quantity and they are made with good products or with good materials. And so there's a lot of thought that goes into that. The athletic skirt, for instance, is a denim skirt with athletic shorts built in. So it's really a 2-for-1 item, and it allows for free play and privacy. And that's really important to me because kids love to run around and climb trees. My daughter does, and my son like skateboards and cartwheels. And it's like, they have privacy, they can be free, and it's a really well-made product. So, it's difficult. You have to educate as much as you can. But there is a particular price point that I have to make money, in order to make things. And it's going to be, I'm sure, an ebb and flow as I continue to grow the brand to see where I can create products that are a little more affordable, but it's going to take me time to get there.
I was looking through your stuff and it's all so cool. And I just love what you're doing. So what are your hopes and dreams for your business?
Well, to continue to expand and create a community really around what I'm doing, which is talking about individuality and breaking boundaries. So I really like to say it's boundary breaking style, which is really what my clothing brand is. So a celebration of who you are. And I'm advocating for kids and adults to do the same, step outside of your box, get uncomfortable, go do things that maybe you wouldn't normally do, wear something, because clothing especially, it's like our clothes tell a story without us saying a word. Well, what story are you trying to tell? And so, wearing something that is unusual or maybe you wouldn't consider before is actually going to put you in a different place that you never thought you would go. And you'll learn something about yourself that you never thought you would. So it really is a far-reaching message that goes beyond our kids and also extends to ourselves as adults who are evolving and learning more about ourselves as we go.
Awesome. That's awesome. So I love your answer to one of our questions that we sent off in advance. And, for your advice for mompreneurs out there, do you remember what you said? Or I can read it because I have it here. It's so amazing.
We send out a little questionnaire to all our interviewees before, just to kind of get a sense of who they are before we meet them.
Yeah. So I'll just read it because what you said was, do you have any advice for other mompreneurs out there? And you said, yes, go for it with a huge exclamation point. If you have a burning idea and your heart is calling you to do, then do it. Start small, but get started. Once you align your heart with your vision, things will start to fall into place. It's not always going to be easy, but your voice matters. And we need to hear what you have to say and share.
That's fantastic.
There's tears to my ear. Tears to my eyes.
It's very true. I really feel that way.
Emotional there because I just think that that's such a great message. And, that really is kind of the message that we keep trying to share throughout this community of listeners and, other moms out there that have an idea that they want to do. We're trying to teach all of you that it can be done. It may not always be easy, but it can be done.
And we talk about it like this bursting feeling, like you have this idea and it's just like bursting out. You got to let it out. You got to see what happens.
Yeah. And I really stand behind what I said, of course. It is really important to share your vision and your voice. And I think a lot of moms in particular will be like, no, I don't have time. I can't, I have to do this, or I shouldn't, and it is really difficult. It's not easy. You do need a support system. But I think putting one foot in front of the other, if something is really driving you and sparking you, then you need, that's a calling. That is something you should follow through on. And you can start small and just follow that curiosity, because that's really what it is. It's like, oh, I'm curious about this. Where is this going to take me? And I think, starting a business is obviously not for the faint of heart. It requires a whole lot of, courage and conviction in what you believe in. But, who has that more than a mom?
Yes. Ooh, I love that. So we're going to post all your information, but let's tell us your website so people can look you up.
Yes, it's StereoTypeKids.com.
Okay. And on our Facebook page, we're going to go ahead and post that and some pictures of some of your clothing. That's one thing you didn't show us anything. So we're going to post some pictures there. People can click on that and go buy her stuff because it's so amazing. And it's such a high, I didn't even realize what a high consciousness this whole brand had. It's just everything from start to finish. It's fantastic. It's really inspiring.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us and letting us hear about your story and your vision and your company. I think it's amazing. And I love that you have your kids involved in the whole process, including some of the social media content. I love that because, kids nowadays, they all are into, they know how to do it. They know how to do the whole social media thing. So that's great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for doing our 20th episode of Momentum. We really enjoyed having you on. I love that we had a socially conscious brand on for our 20th episode. It was really inspiring. It was very neat to meet you. And what's fascinating is everyone we interview has a completely different energy and is inspired by different reasons. And it's just, and all our listeners, you all out there have your own stories and your own ideas. And it's so fascinating. We got to help each other as a community and support each other. So please go to StereoTypeKids.com, buy her stuff. It's so cool. And we'll keep tracking you. And please continue to update us on our site with all your wins. And if you get into certain stores or different things, we'd love to track you and talk about it.
And comment, share your feedback and ideas. And, you can go to our Facebook group and make a little comment about what you think of this episode, what you think of the products, and, share your ideas throughout our community.
Yes. And we only accept kindness. Yes. So just know that.
In a kind way.
We're based on kindness. You're welcome, Elizabeth. Have a great day. And I'm just looking forward to even going through your website now and checking everything out even more.
Yeah. And everybody, let's follow our dreams.
Follow your dreams.
Bye-bye.
Bye, mamas.
Thank you.
Momentum. Two passionate and busy moms sharing their quest to achieve entrepreneurial success.